the plastic needs to be. But what I see a lot of people do is they'll have the plastic bag, and then they'll have a cardboard that folds over, and then you can get a staple and you can put your goods inside the bag. You can put the cardboard folds over, and then you staple it in 2 places, and then you have your custom packaging. And it totally looks professional because you see it in the store all the time. They have like the hole near the center at the top where you actually hang it up on those the poles, like the long poles that are sticking out of the shelves. So it totally looks professional. You can do it yourself, and you don't have to meet a minimum quantity order just to get packaging. Because if you're still testing out the waters, you don't want to sit on 2,000 units if you're not sure it's going to sell. So that's one way to work around that. And then once you know that it is selling, you can actually meet your minimum quantity with your supplier, and then they can work with you to go ahead and package it from their end and then send to you. That way you're saving time. You're probably saving money too, because it may be a little bit more for you to do your packaging, but of course you want that, that look and that feel of professionalism. So it's going to be worth it to you. So just checking questions. I guess for now, guys, if you have questions, put it up in the Facebook, and I'm more than happy to address them. That's what Denise is doing. Thank you, Denise. I appreciate that. I have no clue why you're not able to join us. I don't know why you didn't get the notification. Let's see. Yeah, you should have got that. I don't know if that takes you anywhere. I do apologize about that. So anyone else, do you have specific questions? Please put it on the Facebook post or thread that I started, so that I can answer your questions. I see a lot of people saying that, they want to join and they have joined, but they're not speaking. So, guys, make the most out of this. I'm not doing anything right now, and I'm more than happy to help you out with your questions if I can. I'll be very honest with you if I don't have experience with it. Okay. So I understand what you're saying. I have a friend who is in Canada as well, Denise. And what he is doing is he's having a third party actually do everything on his behalf. So what he's doing is he's having the goods shipped to that third party. Okay, it looks like someone joined. Hello, thank you for joining, Denise. He's having a third party actually go ahead. A lot of people saying they want to join and they speaking. So, guys, out of this, I'm not doing. Something weird happened. Okay, so what he's doing is he's having a third party actually process all of his shipments. So he's importing abroad from China, and from China it's going to a third party in Miami, because he actually imports and puts everything on a ship. So it's done via sea. So it's going to the port in Miami. The third party picks it up from Miami, and from there, they're packaging everything. So you could have a third party do everything for you here in the States so that you never see the product. The only thing I would suggest in that case is just make sure you do see the samples, and make sure you see the final packaging before, they send it off to Amazon FBA, because you don't want your name on something you're not, sure what kind of quality it is, because you can't see it. So yeah, so there are third parties that do that. If you want, I can reach out to my friend who does live in Canada. I think he's on the road because he's a pilot. Well, not on the road, he's in the sky. So I can reach out to him and see if he can suggest the third party or third parties that he may have used in the past to package that for you.
Ryan, are you there?
Yeah, hey.
Hey, we did it. Thanks for your patience. I was like, why can't I get on this thing? What's going on?
No, it's okay. So what happened? Did the link that I sent you work, and then you just never got an email?
I never got an email, and then the links, both the two different ones you put on there, I could see you, but I couldn't join it. And even when you said like putting questions to the right hand side, it just said showcase, but it had no option to add any questions. So I don't know.
Okay, so over to the right, you're not seeing any like group chat.
Right now, no. Right now, but the other link had the it had the bar on the side, but it just had this blue bar and showcase at the very top and a big white panel, and it said there wasn't anything to show, but it didn't give you any option to type in or anything. So I don't know.
Wow, very odd. Yeah, I actually can see over to the side it says chat. And then let me ask you this. Over to the left, do you see like a pencil with a mustache and then like a chat box and then like a green monitor with an arrow?
No, with what I have on here now, your whole screen for me, and I've just got my little picture at the very bottom on the right-hand side, RC beside it in a little black box, which I guess is you. Is that you? Somebody else maybe? I don't know. Is it just us? And then you're telling me that it's live on the top right-hand side. There's nothing else. Just wide open, just you.
Okay, I think I know what happened. I'm broadcasting live like a show, so it's restricting, I think, what people can see. So what I'll do is, guys, I do apologize about that. I'm going to share the other link that I shared with Denise in the PM so that you guys can join. And Tay, you had a question, so I'm going to answer your question. I just asked this question on the Hangout. How are you negotiating prices with suppliers? Okay, yeah, great question. So one thing I'm doing is first of all, I'm knowing exactly how much I want to spend, and this is based off the profits that I'll get when I sell the products based on what other people are selling it at, and then I know after fees and whatnot how much I want to make per product. Some people do it off of a percentage, so they want to make 40%, 50%, but I just do it off a flat fee. So with my products, if I'm making $10 pure profit, I'm happy, but that of course will just depend on you. So when I'm negotiating and I know exactly what price range I want to get in, I hit up several suppliers, and then usually all the suppliers will have different prices. So what I like to do is with a supplier that I really want to work with, but maybe a little higher in price, I let them know that, hey, I'm speaking to another supplier. I really like what you have to offer as far as, your quality. I like speaking with you. I like working with you. However, if it comes down to price, would you be willing to meet or beat your competitor or the other manufacturer that I'm talking to? And usually if that's the only deal breaker, they're very willing to work with me. And that's when forming those relationships come in handy, because we're talking, we're communicating, we're joking around, oh, how the boss is, the boss won't allow me to do this, haha. You're connecting. So when you go to them and say, hey, if it just comes down to price, can you work with me? Usually they're more willing, or just answering the simple question or asking the simple question, is that the best price that you can do for me? A lot of times people will say, well, they'll come back and they'll say, you know what, well, we can do this, but that's the absolute lowest we can do. So to answer your question, just those two questions really help me. Is this the best that you could do? And hey, I like your quality, I like your customer service, I like you. If it comes down to price being a factor, are you willing to meet or beat this other manufacturer? And usually they are. So I hope that answers your question, Tay. I really do. And if not, feel free to ask another one. And Denise, back to you. So where are you in your business right now? Are you still kind of like researching and sourcing?
Yeah, I'm fighting to get out of the perpetual learning mode. So I've got a business registered, I've got a name, and I've got got the niche that I kind of want to be in. I have a good potential product, but I don't. And now I'm actually kind of going, because I was originally, I guess a while ago, I was thinking about doing drop shipping, and I was trying to find drop ship suppliers before I knew anything about Amazon except for when I was buying stuff on it, right? So this is a whole different world for me. So now I'm looking, now I'm realizing that, hey, some of the people that I was, talking with prior that wouldn't drop ship, maybe I can use them now. So I'm kind of going back to some of that old information that I had, some old contacts, just a couple, and it still fits into the niche, so that's good. And now I've got just one guy that I'm talking with, one supplier for another product, in China, but I'm just, I don't know, like I'm leery about the whole China thing because I haven't done it, and you hear so many scam stories. But so I'm also wondering, like, how many suppliers, like when you choose a product, how many suppliers do you typically run it by, or, like how many do you need to go through and to compare with before you find, the guys that you really want to work with? Like 2, 5, 10? How many suppliers do you feel you need to really investigate?
It really depends on Hello, Tay. Thanks for joining. It really depends on the product a lot of the times. Some products, it's harder to find suppliers than others. Some, there's an abundance of suppliers, but the quality of their products are not good. I was working with one product, and I got about 3, 4 samples, and none of these guys' samples were good. They were all crappy. And so it really just depends. I want to say however many it takes, but I know that's not a really good answer for you. But it really does depend on the product and the suppliers. For me, I do work with about 2 at a time, but a lot of it is just pre-qualifying them before I even waste my time sending in a sample or wasting their time. So,
Right.
you know, I'm seeing how they communicate with me. How long does it take for them to communicate back with me? Are they accessible? Do they have a Skype? Do they have a phone number? How legit are they? When I Google their name and their phone number, is it coming up on like another site? Is it matching up? Are they a gold supplier on Alibaba? Do they have feedback from other people who have used them? Do they have other U.S. importers, or in our case, just North America? Do you guys import to other people in North America? As far as just how you do business, is this going to be a good fit? Do you accept multiple forms of payment, such as PayPal or bank transfer? Is it just Western Union? Because if that's the case, no, I'm not going to work with you at all. If you're a legit business, you have more sources than that anyway. So that's just a red flag for me. So there are many things that pre-qualify people for me to not even waste my time to even get a sample. So I might go through 10 people where only about 3 or 4 actually meet my criteria, and then I move from there.
I see.
So I don't know if that really answers your question or it doesn't. If not, let me know.
That helps.
Hi, Tay. How are you? Can you hear me? No, maybe not. Tay, can you hear us? Oh, no. Did Tay get frozen? Okay, you came back. Tay, can you hear me? No. Tay, can you hear me? Maybe not. Okay. Okay, no problem. Yeah, take the call. Not a problem. Okay, so, Tay, I wanted to welcome you, but it looks like you froze on us. So, but that's okay. And then Denise had a call to take. So I'm going to check the Facebook group to see if any other people have questions. Of course, guys, like I said, ask your questions, because this is just a casual hangout. I'm just talking to you about, my experience, answering questions that I have experience with, so I can help you. So really, this is all you guys. I know you just don't want to like stare at my ugly mug all day. You can do that via Facebook. Browse my pictures. All right. So Tay, looks like you left, and I guess you're going to come back. Not a problem. Someone said they can't see the questions over to the right or the chat box. If you guys will, just ask the questions on Facebook. I'll check in and I'll answer it for you. Otherwise, you guys are just kind of like watching. That could be boring. Take advantage. All right, Denise, you all set? You got more questions, girl?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, that I don't need to type then, that means. That's good. Okay. I was just saying the chat thing, when I just had the whole screen for you, if I scroll over to the left, then it pops in and the option to chat comes up.
Oh, that's odd. Okay, you guys hear that? If you use the second link that I put in the Facebook thread, you'll just have to like scroll over to the left, and then the chat box comes in, and you can answer your questions there. Thank you, Denise. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Always learning. We're always learning.
Yeah.
No, that was helpful. That information you were telling me. I told you the situation with me, because I'm in Toronto, right? I'm originally from the States, so all this over-the-border stuff is such a hassle, and it's just really frustrating. So I want to be able to set it up and have it be that I'm really never touching the product, because I don't want it to have to come over the border. Then I'm looking at duties and customs and all those hassles, right? Plus the shipping in all of Canada is just stupid expensive. So so I want to just try to keep it in the States, and that's why also to the whole supplier thing. Like, I'm just thinking, I don't know how much more difficult it might be. I don't know. If I do the whole China supplier thing, I should be able to do it the same way. But I'm just leery of that. So I just have to kind of you know, I have to take a couple of chances. I have to get a little bit brave and just throw some money at it and see what happens. Because I just don't want to start spending money and losing money because I, you know, made stupid mistakes. So the
Right now, I understand.
yeah, the info that you're offering is great. I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing all this, because I can't tell you how valuable this, you know, the knowledge that you have is to like a newbie like me. I'm just, you know, just starting out and really appreciative. So, thanks.
No problem. I'm really happy to see, you know, you taking action, because one thing that I see constantly, and guys, I've joined like 3 courses. So I know what it is to want to do this, and I know what it is to see everyone else with these success stories and think, okay, maybe I can't do it. Because I've been there, and I've been doing stuff online for years, and I've been importing for about a decade now.
Wow.
So, I mean, really, for you to just know that this is what you want to do and be willing to take the action, that's like one of the biggest steps. Because I've seen people research for 2 years and still they have like no product, they haven't gotten any samples, and I'm like, what are you waiting for? So this is good. And I understand, you know, you may be, you know, scared to work with certain things, but if you do plan to import abroad, let me know. I'm more than happy to do some research on the supplier you're considering. You don't have to tell me what product, you know, you're using or anything like that, but if you want to tell me the supplier information, I could do some research and just tell you my personal opinion about how legit, you know, they seem based on, you know, what information I can get. If that's what you want me to do. You know, I'm just a PM away. I'll be more than happy to do that for you.
That's a huge offer. Very kind.
Yep, not a problem, not a problem. Tay, I see you've joined again. I'm going to try one more time. Can you hear me?
No, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hi, welcome.
Oh, okay. Wow, I didn't know if you could hear me. I can't see anything. So my screen is frozen. I don't know if you can even see me. Can
I
you
see
see?
I see a picture of you and I can hear you. So if you want to ask a question and you can hear me, ask away. I'll answer for you.
Oh, okay. So just to give you a little bit of background about me, I've been doing Amazon for 2.5 years. I do it full time. Started retail arbitrage. I have my private label products up, and I actually do in the food category is where I sell. However, I'm changing things over, so I'm just now starting the process of looking for, you know, more hard good products. And I'm just curious, like, what is your product selection or like, or what's your method for selecting products in the different categories or whatever? Because see, like with me for food, I've gone to a lot of trade shows. That was really, I've been entrenched in the niche in that particular area, so I know that category, and I'm just really trying to get my feet wet in the other categories in terms of like researching products and then going on Alibaba and things like that.
Okay, cool, yeah. Well, let me say, you're awesome, because I don't like shopping, so I've never done RA. Never done RA. So that's really awesome. And for you to be in the grocery niche, that scares me. Like consumables, electronics, and health items, they kind of scare me only because I feel like there's a great liability to them. And that's probably just my paranoia. So again, you know, kudos to you. You've been doing this 2 years full time. Awesome. I still have a part-time job. So
Well, I just want to say that's why I chose the grocery is because of like what you said. When everybody goes right, I'm trying to go left.
uh-huh.
But at the same time, I don't know if that's necessarily to my detriment or whatever, because then I see everybody that's doing well in all these other categories, and I'm like, geez, my um, margins aren't like as much as like what you could get. You know, now that I'm starting doing research on Alibaba, you know, I'm seeing like you can get stuff for like $2 and
Oop. She's
Oh,
gone.
she went away again. Well, I'm going to answer her question, guys, because that is a good question about how, you know, I personally choose my product. So I will wait till she gets back to answer that. But until then, anyone have any other questions we can do until Tay comes back? Because like I said, I don't want her to miss it. That would be unfair.
Yeah. Well, hey, maybe you can give me the deal on the BSR. What's your take on the BSR?
The BSR can be really tricky because, for example, I have a product with a BSR of like 15,000. Yet and still I sell about maybe like 4 or 5 a day.
Really?
But this product, it has 5 variations. So like one product ranks for like 5,000. and then another one is for 9,000, another one for 11,000, 13,000, and 15,000. So what I'm thinking is because the parent listing has a pretty okay, ranking of 5,000, that leans to the other rankings. So I'll be very honest, it's kind of still like a mystery to me, but I do know that when I'm researching the products, if it has a high BSR, and high to me is higher than 15,000, then I stay away from it.
Okay, because I'm hearing numbers all over the map in terms of what's good and what's not. I mean, Scott Volker?
Yeah, yeah.
He's like less than 500. I'm like, 500? It's like, the reviews are like 50 billion when you got a 500. I'm like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's good to hear that you're like looking at numbers like 15,000, but you're still selling like, what'd you say? How much a day? 5 day or something like that?
Right, for that particular variation, but like in total, I do like an average of anywhere from 8 to a dozen a day. So not too much, but it does. At the end of the month, the numbers look great. As far as the profit and the sales. Welcome back, Tay. Can you hear us, Tay?
A new pick.
Tay, let me know when you can hear us so I can answer your question. I don't know if you can hear us or not. I see that you've joined. But yeah, so for me, I've had success with even doing research for products under 5,000. I've had success with that. Now, I am in the pet niche, and which is a very large niche, but a lot of times I think it also depends on the category. Because if the category, is smaller, then of course with a lower BSR, it doesn't hold as much rank. So I think what you should also do is research the product that you yourself are considering and see where kind of the top players lie. Because if the top players are lying in, let's say 3,000, then and you know that they're selling, then obviously 3,000 is okay.
Right. So this might be a stupid question. Then how do you find out who the top guys are, and you just keep looking and see how do you know how much they're selling? I guess that's where some of the apps come in, right?
The thing is, no one knows how much they're selling. Amazon doesn't release that information. There is FBAtoolkit.com, and I'll put that in here. FBA Toolkit, and what that allows you to do is put in the ASIN of a product, and then it'll track what the estimated sales are. And what they do is they do the $9.99 trick. They'll put in the cart that you want to buy 9.99 units, and then it'll say only like 600 are available. So we can assume that if in the next 24 hours there's only 500 available, they've sold 100 units.
That's helpful. So that FBA Toolkit, how do I access that? Is that is that an app, or is that through Amazon?
It's a website. If you go to FBAtoolkit.com, and let me make sure I have that website correct for you. FBAtoolkit.com. Yep, you sign up for a free account, and you can track up to 10 products, and they'll give you an estimate of how much that product is selling a day. That way you can get a rough idea of what a product is selling, and you can kind of know, like, for example, I'm tracking a couple of products, and I'm seeing that, one product is selling a couple dozen a day, and there's not a lot of competition. So if I can blow them out the water, I can possibly, too, sell a good, dozen and a half or 2 dozen a day as well. Yeah. So, again, it's all estimates, though, because Amazon doesn't release that information to anybody.
Right. Okay. That's helpful. That's great. I have to check that. I have to check that out. So that'll be good. That'll be a next step for me to kind of see what's going on there.
Right. And then another thing I like to do just to see if the product itself sells, period, I'll go to eBay.com. I'll put in the type of product into their search, and I'll look at the completed listings, and I'll get like an idea of, if people were searching and buying this product. Now, of course, eBay is smaller than Amazon, but it gives me just an idea of people are spending money on that product, like, period. And then at what price range they might be spending. But with eBay, just keep in mind that there's like the flea market type buyers on eBay. So there's one product that I sell for maybe $14 on eBay, but I sell for $29 on Amazon.
Wow. It's amazing to me that people will buy it in one place for so much more than another. Oh my.
I think for some people, eBay has a reputation of has a less than reputation, and then PayPal is a big part of eBay, and now it's money bookers too. But there are a lot of people, especially like older people, they don't trust PayPal. They don't want to use PayPal. They don't want to attach their credit cards and checking accounts to PayPal. They just don't want to, and I understand. So with Amazon, you can use, your credit card. You can use your checking account. There's a variety of different ways you can use it. It's not just restricted to PayPal. Right. And then, the other argument is, well, you can use PayPal, but kind of use it as a third party. And for some people, PayPal won't process it unless you have an account, and I've witnessed that myself. I put in my credit card, and they say some type of error. I guess it's kind of like forcing you to get an account. Right. So PayPal can be kind of a hassle to the point where you don't mind paying more.
Right. Yeah. I get it.
And then think about how many people actually have like Amazon gift cards, you know, versus the eBay gift card, because even with the eBay gift card, you have to have a PayPal account and attach it to the PayPal account, and I believe you also have to register your Social Security number. It's just kind of a hassle.
Right.
It's a hassle, or it can be a hassle.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I know. I can understand that.
So yeah, that's my theory why people would pay more over in Amazon, just because of the type of reputation that they have, and people thinking that they're buying more so from Amazon than from people. So instead of buying, from Joe, you're buying from Amazon. But the truth is, you are buying from Joe. Amazon's just packaging it.
I'm learning, but when I started to notice and understand how this whole thing worked, I was like, what? You mean people are buying stuff from Walmart and selling it on Amazon? I couldn't believe it. The whole arbitrage thing, I couldn't believe it. I was like, my eyes were like open. It was like, what's going on in this world? Who knew? I never knew.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. So yeah, that's kind of neat to find out and to see how this is all working. But no, I definitely hear you. I know times that I've tried to do stuff with PayPal in the past. I mean, now I've got an account that's all set up easily, but it can be a hassle, especially if you're really not comfortable with with a lot of tech stuff, or people are put off by that for sure. So that's a good point.
Oh yes. And Tay, I see that you're watching via YouTube. You're not going to join the chat. That's fine. So to answer your question, how do I go ahead and determine what products I'm getting? I do start by weight, because weight's a factor on two ends. One, I need a lightweight from shipping from my manufacturer abroad to here, because it's going to be cheaper. I ship a lot of my stuff by air, so it goes directly by weight. If I started to ship by sea, then it would be volume, so space and mass. So I haven't started to ship by sea only because I'm impatient and I'm always in a rush. But I will start doing that soon, because generally I can save about 2/3 what I pay for air. So I look for products that are under 1.5 pounds, preferably under a pound. I also look for products, and I think I already told you before you disconnected, I look for products that are not electronic, that are not consumable, and products that generally won't leave me in a place to be liable if someone misuses it, because unfortunately, people do really silly things with things they shouldn't do. I don't know. I have little cousins, they're boys, and the things they do with objects, I'm like, why would you do that, man? Like, that's not what that's for. And people's minds, so nothing that can make me liable. Skincare, I have a lot of friends who are in like beauty, so it's stuff that gets put on people's face and whatnot. I stay away from that, but I know there's a lot of potential in that. So other than just trying to pick a product that doesn't leave me liable unless in case someone misuses it, and electronics, I also look at products that don't have too much competition when I'm searching for it. So let's say we're thinking about what's a real popular one that everyone does. Let's say yoga mats. If I search yoga mats into Amazon right now, there's probably like 70,000 results in there. So I know that out of 70,000, I probably won't be that special. And not that I don't have confidence in me, but that's a lot of competition. So again, just to recap, making sure it's lightweight, making sure it's not a product that I'm necessarily going to be liable for if someone misuses it, and then searching to see what type of competition there is out there. Now, one thing when you're searching for competition, let's say you search for products and then 1,000 results come up. You'll want to scroll down and click like page number 2, page number 3, page number 4, because sometimes those 1,000 results are not at all what you're searching for. They're related items or items that Amazon feels was relevant to the search. So there are some items that I'll search for and they'll be like 1,300 results, but then by page 3, none of those results are what that initial keyword is related to at all.
Great point.
So, you know, with scrolling through there, make sure that the results that you see are actually the results, because if you can land on page 3 out of the 20, you know, you may have a good chance of, or you do have a good chance of climbing up those ranks to getting to page 1. I know there's more criteria that I use when I'm researching, but those are the kind of like the 3 big things thinking at the top of my head. And let me know, Tay, if that really didn't answer your question, because I'm really bad at not answering people's questions because my mind wanders off. So just hit me up on Facebook if that didn't answer your question.
That's great. That's a big help to me, that one too. That whole looking at the number of the search and realize that maybe that's not all that it's not the right category. You know, there's more in there than what you're really shooting for.
Right, and you'll discover there's like I'm in the pet niche now, but I want to also get into the home, like the home and garden niche. Like I want to be in 2 different niches, 2 different brands. And one thing I noticed is that while researching in the home and garden, I'm researching and I noticed that one of the products is also in like the medical as well. And the good thing about the medical is you have to apply to be able to sell in that. So I know I'll have less competitions with private label sellers because people are going to be willing to put, well, I'm not going to say people won't be, but there are more people not willing to put in the work to actually go ahead and be able to sell in there. So I know I can set myself apart in that way. Instead of selling in the home category, I can sell in the medical category. And then I can also rank higher because this product, there's only like 1 or 2 in the health category, whereas there might be like 8 or 10 in the home and kitchen. So I can rank higher in medical, but I can still show up in the main search when someone puts in the keyword. Mm-hmm. So that's something also to keep in mind. Tay, I did get your message. I'm going to read it out loud. Regarding the sample order, are you negotiating the price for those samples? Also, how many samples are you getting in the beginning? Usually there's no negotiating the price of samples because a lot of times people send it to me for free because they do want my business. It will depend on the product because there are some products where they probably just can't afford to send it to you free. In that case, I'm not really negotiating the sample price because I've already talked about the price per unit once we do a bulk order or a trial order. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Hi, RC. Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I like your shirt. That's vivid.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for doing a casual chat on this. I just stumbled on this on Facebook.
Oh, no, my pleasure, my pleasure. Tay, let me know if that answers your question. Oh, your second question, how many samples do I get? I usually get about 2 or 3. That's enough for me to kind of play around with it, get a friend to play around with it, and then me sell a sample to make sure that it sells. So about 2 or 3.
Wow.
And Jeff, since you just stumbled on, did you have any specific questions or any information you wanted to share about yourself?
Yeah, I'm just starting out on I'm looking to private label or wholesale an item. Probably private label. I've experienced with Amazon on the affiliate side and building websites and getting traffic and organic traffic that way. But I want to step it up a notch to have my own products basically and channel traffic to my own products. Mike, I have a question though that when you were talking about putting one product into a new category that it isn't really in yet. Does Amazon not care how you categorize, like what category you put a product in?
From their TOS, as long as it's not an obvious, like the category is just obviously not the same. For example, if I took a dog leash and tried to sell it in home, they would catch me and put me back in my correct category. But the thing about the product that I'm researching is it literally can be used in the medical sense or in the home and the kitchen. It just depends. So let's say, for example, certain spices. So certain spices may be used for food, but it may also be used to put in some type of like home remedy. So it may also be eligible for home and medical, just depending on the product. As long as Amazon sees that the use can be for both niches, they won't touch you. If it's an obvious, like, okay, no, these don't match, you're just doing this so you can rank in that category, they will manually remove you and put you in your correct category.
Okay, so they'll just kind of shuttle you into a different category. It's not like you're...
Exactly, yeah. Because some people were kind of using that to trick the system and rank higher. Because they were the only people, like if you're selling the shoes and you're in home, then you would probably rank very high because no shoes in home, it's in clothing. So people were doing that on purpose to rank, and if Amazon catches you, they'll manually put you back into the correct category. But like I said, if it's something that can be used in 2 or 3 different categories, they won't bother you.
Cool.
Good to know.
Yeah. Now, Jeff, since you said you actually do affiliate sites, I had an affiliate site at one time, and I was getting paid, didn't know it. I don't know how I was getting paid. I don't know how people were finding me. But did you have any, like maybe CEO tricks or any traffic generation tricks so that people can, use this for their own sites as well that they might have?
Sure. Yeah, for sure. I've been doing it for about 4 years. I started off just building a ton of sites and trying to rank the sites for certain keywords that I thought that would kind of match to a product on Amazon. And eventually I kind of refined that to where I was like, okay, I got to make sure that it's a good product that's selling well and something that I can write about, because basically you're doing sort of content marketing, right? You're usually, in the case of building websites that are intended to direct affiliate traffic, you're going to be writing a lot of articles about those products, and so basically I would just I build a site around a central sort of theme and try to become an authority on that thing. And eventually I'd say write 5 or 10 articles, and the site would start ranking after. Nowadays it would take probably 2 or 3 months because Google has really stamped down on people trying to spam, the rankings and stuff. So it has to be quality, original content, maybe a 500-word article. 1,000-word article is better, but basically you're trying to cover all the bases in that niche, explain everything anybody would want to ask. You look up, Google AdWords is the best place to find, like, to do your keyword research or to start. You look up something, and you'll find all the keywords in that world. So you're going to kind of, you're not going to like do it really obviously. Just everything is natural, but you're going to make sure you hit all these bases, because it's basically these are questions people are asking. You're like, what's the best, what's the best stand-up paddleboard? What's the best whatever? So you're going to write an article about the best stand-up paddleboard. And then you're going to write an article, maybe the top 10 for stand-up paddleboards on lake, just kind of like hitting all these bases. And eventually the site will start ranking, and then just naturally I would put at the bottom, say, of an article like, if you want to see the best price on this stand-up paddleboard, click here. And it would be to an affiliate, Amazon affiliate link to the product.
So would you say it really is about original, good content that happens to have, these keywords to trigger people who are searching for the content?
Exactly. Original, good content is key. Google is getting better and better. Just their algorithm is getting better and better at seeing what is actually good content, and they can tell if someone is sticking around on your website, or they're bouncing off real quick because it's some kind of crappy site. So if it's good stuff and they're sticking around, Google will say, okay, well, this is good stuff. We want this in our rankings, and they'll bump you up in the rankings. And if it's a non-competitive niche, without too much work, you can probably rank on the first page, maybe in the first spot of Google. And if that keyword gets, say, 1,000 hits per month, which you can see on AdWords, Keyword Planner. So theoretically, you'll get about 40% of the traffic if you're in the first spot of Google. in the ranking. So you would get 400 hits per month, right? Theoretically, maybe more, maybe less. And then you're going to rank for a lot of what they call long tail keywords too.
Right.
Which are, yeah. So so the traffic can be cool, and that's all free traffic. You're not paying for that. You know, it's not advertising. You're doing a service of people. You know, giving people information, and if they want to, they can click on your link to see if they want to buy the product, and then they do, and you get your Amazon affiliate cut, which is nice.
Very cool, and I think that's what happened with me. I was actually starting to rank a little bit. I had a website on twin baby strollers, and it was twinbabystrollers.com, and within it there were articles, and there were listings, and there was reviews, and I actually paid someone to make this specific site. The only thing I didn't like about this is a lot was pre-generated, so of course I had like spun articles. They weren't original. They were just reworded. And I think after all like the penguin and duck and animal zoo changes with Amazon, I think I just wasn't ranking that well. So I didn't even renew the domain when it was time to renew it last year. But I did check my account, and I had several times where they issued me a $10 credit because I didn't want to go to my bank account. I asked for a credit, and I didn't even know. Like I didn't even notice this, and I'm looking at my account like, whoa, there's money in here.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool. But thank you for sharing. That's great. I'm glad that you're moving on to the private labeling side. Are you having any trouble with getting started in any way?
I just started doing research about maybe a month ago. So I took a course through Jim Cockrum. I bought the course and kind of I'm learning stuff like that and just reading a ton. Right now I'm in the process of deciding on a product and doing a lot of research just basically on like I'm doing like Google ad research to see how much traffic there is for keywords to kind of see what the demand is, but then also using tools like FBA Toolkit, which is awesome.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and another tool is Merchant Words. You guys use that one?
I have it on my resource list. I'm not using it. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Write that down to Denise. That is a good one. It helps suggest keywords around your main product. So if you start using like PPC with Amazon,
right,
you can you can use those words to see which words are going to help you convert and spend less money. And guys, if anyone that has a product on Amazon, PPC is awesome. It's not like AdWords or Bing PPC. Literally, for every $1 that I spend, I'm making like 19 back.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And I know people that are doing way better than that. So it depends on the tweaking. So guys, use PPC when you have the reviews for your product. It makes a world of difference in your sales.
Sorry to jump in on you.
I was just going to say that's pay-per-click on Amazon, you're saying, right?
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I've done some training more along the whole social media lines, social media marketing, and I found like the content that, the amount of content that I had to be pushing out, and it was just overwhelming. And even like PPC on Facebook, there was just so much following it, tweaking it, and getting the right picture and getting the right copy. And it was just like, I don't think I can keep up with this. And and then like it seems like what's a PPC ad on Amazon? It's pretty simple. Like I don't even know if I've ever really seen one. Just when it says sponsored and it looks like a listing, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's easier.
Yeah. And literally, you're just putting in your keywords and letting Amazon do their thing. The campaign setup isn't difficult at all. I would say Facebook's campaign setup is a little more challenging than the PPC program with Amazon. Very simple. Very simple.
I'm eager to get to that point, but that's a very important aspect, right? You got to really you have to be doing some ads to get that ranking up, right? To get seen.
Well, not necessarily. I have seen people who were able to put it up there organically, but they did say once they used PPC, it put them up at a higher point. So it's possible, but if you're going to make money off of it anyway, why would you neglect to use it?
Right. Do you keep them running as a regular thing, even when you're, do you run it and then take a break from them and then have like see where you're going organically and like boost it with your PPC, or do you just always keep some ads going?
As of right now, with the very first product, I've stopped it maybe one time, but that's because I had to make a payment on my credit card, and I didn't want them to charge the credit card and then like not get it charged. Like I didn't want it to bounce, so to speak. So I had to pause it, and then I made the payment, and then I ran it back. But that had nothing to do with like the campaign itself, just me not wanting to let the payment bounce. But for product 1, I've ran it since I've had 15 reviews of my listing. I have product 2 up now. I only have 4 reviews, and I want to wait till I get about 12 reviews to run PPC. But someone actually told me that the amount of like I'm good. I should go ahead and start right now. I'm a little chicken. I don't know if I will do it, but I know that conversions usually do go up the more reviews you have. But I have people who are doing like 100,000 in sales a month arguing that. So I'm only doing about 8,000 in sales, so maybe I should listen to those 100K people.
That's cool. You're doing it right, though. Getting things rolling.
Right. So I gotta test the waters with that. Yeah.
Can I ask you what budget a day?
I started.
You just start now. A day enough?
Is how much a day enough?
$10, $20. What do you think?
I think it really depends on your keywords. For example, I'm paying anywhere from 16 cents to 50 cents, so $5 was enough for me. Okay. But in some more competitive markets, you may have to set it more to $10 so you can see exactly what's converting. But what I also did was I ran an auto campaign and a manual campaign. I did the auto targeted campaign, so Amazon picks the keywords. Right. That way I know any keywords that I maybe I haven't thought of myself. I can see how they're converting, and then I take those keywords and I put in my manual campaign. And then the manual campaign, I'm just using the keyword planner with AdWords and the suggestions that they give them. But you can do that with merchant words too, I believe. Is that right, Jeff? You can use merchant words to get those suggested keywords?
I've used it to see the keywords, yeah. I've mainly used it, though, to see sort of the traffic or the what keywords are getting, and I'm not sure if I believe it sometimes, but it's it's so different than Google. But I guess people go straight to Amazon a lot of the time and just do a lot of different.
Yeah, and I think that's why the conversions are higher too, because it's a buyer's market. People go there to basically buy. Very little do people go there to kind of like do research, like on Google. We're just trying to see what the reviews are and stuff. Usually when people go to Amazon, they know what they want to buy and they're ready to buy. It's just a matter of which product they want to buy, unless they're specifically putting in the brand name. Nike high tops versus high tops.
Right.
All right. Well, can I pick your guys' brains on the whole code thing? What do you know about? I'm confused about codes and what I need to get for, like, okay, let me, if I'm going to ask somebody to private label, a supplier to private label a product for me, I need to get a UPC code, right? So I buy this code, and then I send it to them to put on the product?
Yep, you can send it to your manufacturer a lot of times, and they'll print the barcode on there. If you don't want to do it that way, Amazon will label your product. You'll still need the code, but Amazon will create a label for your product, and they'll stick it on your package at 20 cents per unit.
So is there a way to avoid that? Or that just, they always, Amazon has to have, that's the ASIN, right? That's Amazon's number for you, right? That has to go on the product, no?
The ASIN is generated using your UPC code. So you have your UPC code, you put that in. But if you need the barcode and the label, Amazon can do that at 20 cents a pop. If you don't want them to do it, what you would do is you'd get your UPC code. There are free websites that generate the bar. You could take a picture of that, send it to your manufacturer, and the manufacturer will put it on your product for you, or your product packaging, excuse me.
All right, I'm still kind of confused about it. Then I heard some people saying that if you're going to just only planning on selling through Amazon, let's say you don't want to have it on any other platform, that you don't even necessarily need a UPC code. If you're doing a private label, you don't necessarily need a UPC because you're just going to get the label that Amazon's going to put on it. I'm totally confused about the whole label thing.
I think what you may be referring to, and of course correct me if I sound incorrect, commingling, is that what you're talking about? Where you're not using Amazon's FNSKU, or whatever they call it, but you're just using the UPC code. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like what's that other code you're even talking about? Like, well,
commingling? Okay. All right, no, I don't want you to get a headache. I don't.
Commingling is if you're sending more than one product in a box, right?
No. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna. Because I want you to get this. I want you because I was confused too. Like I want you to get this. No, it's cool. So, you have your UPC code that helps to generate a barcode.
Okay.
Now, Amazon has their own barcodes that helps them with their internal inventory system.
Okay.
So when you commingle, what happens is, let me give you an example. Okay, let's say you're doing retail, what's that, arbitrage? Is that the word?
Okay.
And you're sending in a Batman toy. So you have a Batman toy figure. But I'm sending in a Batman toy figure too. So now we have two Batman toy figures.
Right.
If it's commingled, you and I's stock is together. And it doesn't matter because both of those are Batman figurines.
Right.
But the thing is, a lot of people don't like commingling because my Batman toy might be slightly damaged. Like the packaging may be slightly damaged, whereas yours may be perfect. So when you're commingling and you're not using Amazon's little label, I may have your product sent out on my behalf,
Right.
and vice versa. But when you're private labeling, you're usually the only person selling your product. So it doesn't matter if it's commingled because all the ones that you send in are the only ones available.
Right, okay.
And that's how you avoid using Amazon's little special label.
So what's the ASIN then?
The ASIN is automatically generated when you put in your UPC code.
Okay.
And that doesn't have anything necessarily to do with your barcode.
So the ASIN, isn't that Amazon's identifying number for your product?
Yes.
Where'd you go? Okay. You're back. All right. So now when you input the data, when you're listing your product on Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
you give them the UPC number.
Yes.
And then then what happens? Then they put an ASIN on it?
From your UPC, they generate their own ASIN. Yep.
Okay. So now, when you say the UPC code leads to a barcode, who takes care of that part? It just happens automatically. Where does the? I thought the UPC number was the same.
If you're letting Amazon take care of it, you can put in the UPC code, and then they'll generate their own special code and put it on your product for 20 cents a pop. If you don't want them to label it, there is a spot where you can print them out yourself and put it on your product.
Oh,
if you want to avoid that altogether, what you can do is there are free sites. You put in your UPC code, and it generates a barcode. And from there, you send that to your manufacturer, and they put it on your product.
Okay, that's what I'm going to probably need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did I alleviate some of that confusion?
Yeah, a lot. That's actually really helpful.
Okay, good. I didn't want you to be confused.
No, well done. Okay, so then, so in terms of like, if you looking for a company, I know that I got a couple of different names of UPC code buying places you can buy UPC codes. Would they also have that barcode, or would that be even another someplace else I have to go to buy that?
It depends on where you're buying it from. But you can generate barcodes for free. There are lots of sites out there that generate for free.
How do you know if it's a reliable source? Like, I also heard with some of the UPC, sometimes they're not, like, they could be like using other codes, like using codes that have already been sold.
When you buy the code and when you put it in Amazon and it generates a product that you have no idea came from, you'll know it's not legit. But is there any way to know before? I mean, other than just going to sites that people have, used themselves, there might be a registry where you can actually check your barcodes. But, I mean, I've never had a problem with barcodes, so I really can't say for sure.
All right. Okay, that's good. That's helpful. That's
So
really helpful.
there isn't just one place that generates UPC codes. I haven't looked at this at all. It's just like a bunch of people making UPC codes out there?
From my understanding, it's one like main source, and then people are like buying them in bulk and then kind of reselling them.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
weird. Okay.
Yeah, but from what I understand too, it's something GS something, which is like the main big UPC or code producer, like that I suppose is, I don't know if it's regulated or in some way, and so
yeah, the GS is the format of the barcode.
Okay, but I heard so you could go directly to them, but it's expensive. That's for it not to be expensive, you need to have a huge number of codes that you need to buy. Something like
right.
that.
So there are people out there who that's their business. They're buying in bulk and then they're packaging and reselling.
Yeah.
So one that a lot of bigger Amazon sellers are talking about, barcodestalk.com. And give you a moment, I'll get that website for you. That's a good one. Barcodes Talk, and I haven't purchased from them directly, but I have reached out to their support to answer some questions, and they're very friendly, very knowledgeable in the whole barcode game. I definitely would at least suggest reaching out to them for some of your questions so you can get clarification. They have chat support, and then of course you can also call them. I don't know if they have an 800 number because I know you're in Canada, but like I said, I've spoken to them and I've chatted with them. Very knowledgeable, very friendly people. So I'm pretty sure they can also clear up any concerns. Tay, I do see your question. So you get 2 samples, and then how are you deciding the quality to order for your quantity to order for your first time? Tay, usually all my orders, my very first orders are anywhere between 50 and 100, just depending on me giving myself a rough estimate of how much I want to sell. And then also keep in mind that I may be giving away, half my inventory so that I can get reviews. So that number will really depend. For me, it's usually about 100, but I have done like 150 and 300 units. So it'll depend on how much you think you're going to sell, how much it'll take to actually get it restocked once you're sold out, and how much you're giving away. So let me know if that answers your question, Tay. And Zay, thank you so much for joining us. If you had any questions, Zay, unmute your mic and ask. It's a conversation, so contribute.
Darcy, I wanted to. You said that you were bringing in products. Are you bringing in products from China?
Shh! Don't tell no one.
Okay, I mean a foreign source.
Yes, I'm importing from China.
Okay. I was looking into trying to figure out the costs of. Well, I understand that FOB means basically like on Alibaba, say, there's a product that's like 80 cents FOB per thing. So, from what I understand, that means FOB they'll get it to the ship, and that's the cost for them to get it to the ship, for them to make the thing, package it, get it to the ship in China. From there, it's like on me to pay for it, obviously, to get to a port in the United States, to a warehouse, and then to Amazon. So I'm trying to figure out like how to calculate the cost of the shipping, or probably air freight too is how I'm going to start, because it's going to be smaller quantities and it's going to be a lightweight product. Is there a good place that you've seen to like kind of calculate those costs of air freight?
The estimator sites that I use are kind of like awful. So I do have I have a freight forwarder on Skype that I'll reach out to, and he'll give me rough estimates. As far as the sea, the cost is going to depend on the cubic metrics, so the space that it's taking up on the ship, and then air is going to be by weight. Usually with the air shipment, it's like from my estimates, it's usually like $30 for the first kg, and then about anywhere from $5 to $7 per kg after that, and then kg is about 0.4 of a pound.
No, kilogram is 2.2 pounds. Kilogram is 2.2 pounds.
Oh, okay. So kg is 0.4. Wait, no, a pound is 0.4 of kg, right?
That sounds right.
I said it backwards. Okay. So we're looking at 2.2 pounds per 1 kg.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Don't listen to me, Jeff. I'm backwards today.
I gotcha. That's
So,
that's
yeah.
you're talking about air.
For air, yeah. So about $30 for the first kg, then anywhere from about 5 to 7, maybe even onwards to 8 per kg after that.
Gotcha. And then of course C is going to be a lot cheaper.
Yeah, because it is by volume. So I mean, you know, a
Yeah.
lot of times if it's heavier but it doesn't take up a lot of space, you know, it's definitely going to be cheaper. But by air, it's weight period. So for samples,
Gotcha.
I always do air because it doesn't make sense for me to wait 30, 45 days for 2 units. So I'll go ahead and pay the freight for the samples.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's going to be a smaller trial or bulk order, I'll go ahead and do air for that too. I haven't gotten into ordering too big of an order for me to use C, but I do see that in the future. Like I'll probably get, you know, about 2 months of stock, and then I'll go ahead and just order via C. But for now, it is air. It's more expensive, but I have enough cushion in my profit margin to go ahead and pay it.
Cool. Do you which service are you using? Which, like DHL or?
A lot of times it is coming either by DHL or FedEx. I haven't had a UPS truck come to my house in forever. Well, no, I order from Amazon. It comes from comes that way, but usually it is DHL or FedEx. I had a sample come in TNT. Why did it come in TNT? I have no idea. I think that was just from the manufacturer.
Yeah. Are they deciding the service to use?
No, I have a choice in it. Usually I just tell them whichever one's cheaper, unless it's like a big difference in the days. Like sometimes cheaper will add, you know, 4 days, and if I'm really just close to running out of stock, I'll say no, I'll just pay the extra and get it faster.
Gotcha.
But usually you do get to, you know, choose.
I thought they chose. That's good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then RC, you're having it shipped like to your house, and then you're dealing with repackaging there, or?
So far, I don't have to repackage. I'm only shipping it to my house to inspect, and then I'm using UPS preferred shipper through my Amazon account, and then I'm shipping it that way. The last shipment that I did was 46 pounds for one box, about 48 for the other box, and I paid about $14 in total to have it shipped. But that's because it was like right down the street. In the past, it might have been like $28 to ship about, you know, almost 100 pounds. So you can tell that there's a big savings in that. And they do a UPS ground, so you'll probably have it to the warehouse within like 5 to 7 business days.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it doesn't cost that much more to have it to my house and then ship there. But once you start shipping in like huge volumes and you can't have it, you know, to you, you'll want to get like a third party to inspect your goods and then ship on your behalf to Amazon. That's if you're doing it by sea. If you're doing it by air, you can just put it straight to Amazon. But as far as sea, Amazon won't sign for the customs, so you don't send directly to Amazon by sea.
Oh, really? Okay. But air is okay to go straight from the factory in China to.
Right, but you'll want to inspect your sample, and then you'll want to place like a trial order, because you know, God forbid you get that. The Amazon gets it and then it's damaged, they're going to reject it, and now you have to pay them to send it back to you, and it could be a whole mess. So I don't send directly to Amazon until probably like shipping number 3 or 4, till it's come to my house, and I trust them to package it right and everything to look good.
Do you hear a lot about that? Does that happen often where, you know, you'll get a couple of samples and they're kind of like better than what's typically sent out? Like, because I'm in the situation where I am, like, for me to have stuff sent here and then sent down to Amazon is just stupid. I'm not going to do that unless I actually haven't even looked at Amazon, you know, .ca Canada. But how often do you hear of people checking out the samples and they're looking good, and you know, after a couple of samples, and then they send then the supplier sends the actual product, and it's just like a piece of crap?
Actually spoke to a specialist on this. She suggests, because for her it was about 50%, so I guess I've just been lucky so far. She suggests you get a sample and then you get a pre-production sample. So before they start the actual production, get a sample from that too, because sometimes samples can be sitting in their office for a while. They may have used a different machine in the past, and now they have a new machine. So the quality of that sample may not be the same as that production line that you want to get.
Was that Nancy who said that the other night?
Yep, it was Nancy.
Yeah, that was incredible. So very cool. Okay.
Oh yeah, Nancy's awesome.
Yeah. I'm just leery of because I feel like I'm not really good at trusting other people to do jobs for me.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The whole idea of ordering something and then having it not be what I was told or what the sample was. But I'm kind of in a position where I'm going to have to start to be a little more trusting and just bite the bullet and hope that it will be good. And if it's not, then deal with it, I guess, from that point on.
Right. Yeah, in your case, if you get the samples sent to you via air and that looks good, and then you get the pre-production samples and that looks good and it's packaged right, do you have family here in the States?
I do, yeah. My family was in New York.
Oh, good. Then maybe what you could do is have that first trial order sent to your family members in there, and then have them do like a video or something, take pictures for you, and just make sure that everything looks good, and then have them ship that to Amazon's FBA, and then on the second or the third, have your supplier, if it is lightweight and you're shipping air, have them ship directly to Amazon.
Yeah,
and then you don't have to get your family involved every shipment, and then they're calling you saying, hey, don't come visit us because you make us work.
We send tons of stuff there because just bringing it over the border. If I go over the border for the weekend, I can bring back $700 worth of stuff, duty free, no matter what it is. But if I were to have it sent here, I'd be paying duty and stuff. So we always send stuff there and then bring it back, bring it home, and come home. But
yeah, you can even do that. Like for a weekend, when that first trial order comes, go visit and check it yourself.
Yeah,
and,
what I'll do because the idea of, but that I hadn't thought of having them check it for me. That's I don't know why I hadn't thought of that. That's a good suggestion. I could do that. They'll we can do a little FaceTime action and get a chance to look at it and trust their judgment on it. That's not a problem.
Right. And then of course you can also request pictures before it leaves the factory as well. And then you can compare and contrast, like, okay, before it left the factory, it's looking this way. After it looks this way, we have to see where the discrepancy is. Like, is this happening on the plane? Is this happening as you guys are closing up the box? Like, what's causing this change in the quality that you sent me before and the quality you sent after?
So the suppliers will give you, they'll take the time to take pictures of them, maybe putting the product in the box.
Oh, yeah. Every shipment that I've got so far, I've gotten pictures, and they're showing me, the product as it's finished, the product in the box as it's being packed open, and then it closed and sealed.
Oh, all right. That helps, boost your confidence a little bit. That's great. Okay, good. Mm-hmm. I'm always leery in terms of how much is somebody going to be able, or how much is a company going to be willing to do to kind of,
if they know you're serious, they'll do pretty much everything, anything. Yeah, that's reasonable, of course.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's great to know. I guess maybe because when I said, I don't know, Jeff, if you heard, I had originally was looking at drop shipping, and I found it really hard to find drop shippers, and I didn't know, you always kind of felt like, oh no, these guys wouldn't do it. It's too much of a hassle for them. So in the back of my head, I always have, they're not going to want to do this, they're not going to want to do that, so that's encouraging to hear that they will do those kind of steps to build that confidence and to show that the product is good and show you what went on with it. So that's great to know. That's kind of a surprise for me, so that's good to know.
Yeah, I suppose they're trying to build a good relationship with you too, in order, they want you to keep on buying from them, and you're presumably ordering large quantities of product, hundreds, if not thousands, and I did a little bit of drop shipping too, and I understand, on that side, it's like you're getting usually from a manufacturer who's selling hundreds of products to big stores like Target or whatever, and then you're asking them to send one or two to people here and there. So they're, it is. I found that pretty difficult to do, and hard to find manufacturers who wanted to.
Yeah,
really do it too.
That's what I found. I never got it to go anywhere. It never went anywhere.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough one.
All right. That's pretty cool. I mean, a lot of stuff.
Yeah. RC, or is it Rye, or which? How should
I have so many names. It's cool. It's cool. Everyone usually just calls me Rye because it's short for Ryan, which is my legal name. people think that it's not. But yeah, so whichever one you want to call me. My mom calls me Ryan, so you feel free to call me Ryan if you want.
I'll call you Ryan then. Your pseudonym or your real pseudonym. I don't know. I was going to ask you. You have private label products. Are you getting them packaged with special packaging that you're having created, like graphics and stuff like that?
At this time, no. Everything's in a poly bag. With
what is a poly bag exactly?
Just a regular bag. Pretty much a Ziploc bag without the Ziploc part. So it's just a regular old bag right now. There's no special designs on it other than the suffocation label and the actual a barcode. So nothing special about my product as of right now. But I do understand that not all products can be packaged in that way. And at that time, what I do is I go to Alibaba and look for people who specialize in just packaging. And then I send the packaging over to the manufacturer and then ask them to put the goods in there. But I haven't had to do that for years.
Gotcha. Yeah, it seems a lot simpler to just do it the polybag way.
If your product can handle that, yeah, just do a poly. Yeah.
So you're not even having. Are you having anything like specially printed on the product? So it's.
My product number 1 is made of cloth and it has my label on it. So it has like a tag on it, like what you see in your shirt. Yeah. And then product number 2 has a transparent sticker on it. So both of the products have my logo on it. It's just packaged in regular poly.
Gotcha.
I don't think I'm gonna have anything that can go in a. Well, yeah.
As long as your product pictures aren't displaying like a box. I mean, your customer shouldn't be disappointed in any way because all my pictures are of the product, like specifically. So for them to get it in the bag is not like a surprise. Like, oh, there was a box on the product listing. What is this? And from my experience, it hasn't like devalued the product with it being in a plastic bag. As long as it's not like holey or anything, I haven't had any issues or complaints.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've noticed I've never seen a review. I don't think that's, and I read a lot of reviews on Amazon that said like, oh, there was no box, or people don't really care, I guess, because it's going to come in the Amazon box, right? Almost.
It's going to come in a regular like box, and then usually there's like some type of bubbling or paper in the box with it, and then there's your product.
Which Amazon, they're doing all that through the FBA.
Yeah, right? And then that's what you're paid for. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I'm thinking I want to try to go a little bit higher end products. So I'm figuring, like the packaging, like that's a big thing I think for the niche that I'm looking at. I think because I want people to go like, wow, look at this. I can really feel like they got something really special. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking
maybe you should like test between the both, because right now my product is double my competitors and still no complaints. So it is a premium product, but really when I get in stock like I want to, I will be pricing it down so I'm selling in volume and doing more per day and overall making more money. But it's something that maybe you should test. See if the bags do make a difference. That way you're saving money. But I understand what you're saying. You want to give this perception that it is a premium product and doesn't give off as much of an impression, which is polybag. Now I understand that. But maybe just consider testing it to see if you are, I don't want to say wasting money, but you're spending money unnecessarily.
Yeah, it would be wasting it for sure if it's not having that impact and that doesn't convert. So, yeah, that's a good suggestion. I'll get another good suggestion, right?
Yeah, so maybe test it with a picture with it in the package and see, too, if the conversions maybe go up and then, send it like that and then take off that picture with it in the packaging and then send it in the poly to see if there's a difference. Because maybe the conversions will go up with it being in a pack. I don't know. Right. But it's just something that maybe you should test before investing into that.
Yeah, so you're thinking like I could just test it. Do you think I could do just like by the pics? Or would I have to actually, I was thinking I probably should do some nice packaging or something and then sell some like that and some just in a simpler kind of bag or something? I don't know.
And I'm not sure I'm answering your question. As long as the pics aren't showing the package and you're sending only polybag, you should be okay. So, for example, if you're testing, make sure your pic is in the package so you know that people are clicking it and they see that's in the package and they're getting the package, don't have a picture of the packaging and they're just in poly. Then you might get complaints.
Right. So,
But of course, you'd have to test to know for sure.
yeah, I have to think that one through. But that would be
Because you know how like kids are. Kids will unwrap something and they'll play with the packaging before the thing. So like it just really depends because I don't know for sure. I know in some niches it's not going to make a difference, but there are some niches where it is. Like if you're selling like maybe like a hammer kit, it would be kind of cool if it came in like a case. Whereas where it just came with a hammer and now the hammer's just loose around the house.
Right. And nobody wants a hammer.
Right. So I think it depends on the product, and of course, you know, you're just testing it out. It'll take a little bit more to test, but at least you'll know your numbers.
Right. No, that's true. I'm gonna have to do that because that's what I mean. I had that idea in my head, and the more I see the whole process, I'm thinking, you know, this whole packaging thing could really be very expensive. It could, you know, wreck the margin. So.
And then at the very least, maybe you could put your product in a poly bag and then have an insert, a very beautiful insert with your logo or the background or whatever you want in there, and then on the back of that maybe the instructions if instructions are needed. Right. That way it's in the poly bag still, but you're saving money because it's more so the insert, but it still looks very nice.
Yeah. I'll have to kind of figure it out.
You got a lot to play with, Denise.
Okay. Well, it's a good suggestion. There is a lot to play with. All right. Well, boy, this was a great bit of time spent with you guys.
Good. All right. Well, I mean, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I don't see anyone asking any questions on Facebook. I don't see any questions in the chat. Jeff, you got any questions?
Not at the moment. This has been extremely helpful, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Well, Jeff, if you have any more questions, or Denise too, reach out to me on Facebook. If I can help, I will. If not, I'll try to get you to someone who can.
That's right. That's great. Thanks so much for the help. I really
thanks, Rye.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
I'm so impressed with how helpful you've been, and you know, some of the other guys. It's like, wow, the world's got some great people in it. So thanks a lot.
No, my pleasure. Yeah. All right, guys, you have yourself an amazing weekend. Thank you for chatting with me.
Thanks.
Great talking with you guys.
Bye.